Story: How Dolphin Eat Jessica Loudly Crying Face. The morning sun spread a golden glow over the small fishing village, painting the calm waves with shimmering streaks of light. The smell of salt drifted through the air, mingling with the scent of drying nets hanging along the pier. For most villagers, the ocean was simply a livelihood, a place to catch fish and earn their bread. But for Jessica, it was a world of mystery and magic. Jessica was a bright, adventurous girl of 12 with windswept hair the color of honey and eyes that seemed to hold the sparkle of the sea itself. While other children played on the sandy shore, Jessica would sit on the edge of the wooden pier, her legs dangling above the water, gazing at the horizon as if waiting for the ocean to whisper a secret only she could understand. She had always been fascinated by dolphins. The way they leapt joyfully out of the water, their smooth bodies glistening in the sun, filled her heart with wonder. Local fishermen often told her stories about them, stories of dolphins guiding lost boats back to shore, of them playing with children, and of their deep intelligence. Jessica believed every word. One breezy afternoon, as she sat sketching the ocean in her little notebook, a shadow fell across her. She looked up to see Old Man Haroon, the village's most seasoned fisherman. His skin was weathered like driftwood, and his eyes held the kind of wisdom that came only from decades at sea. "You love watching them, don't you?" he said in his low, gravelly voice, nodding toward the water, where a pod of dolphins played in the distance. Jessica smiled. "Yes. They're the most beautiful creatures in the world." Haroon's expression grew serious. "Most of them, yes. But not all dolphins are the same. There's one out there different from the rest. A big, lone dolphin, dark as midnight, with eyes that don't smile. I've seen it once. It's no friend to people." Jessica tilted her head, intrigued. "A dangerous dolphin? I thought dolphins were always gentle." "Gentle?" Haroon gave a soft, bitter laugh. "Nature has many faces, child. That one's a hunter. Keep your distance." His words lingered in her mind long after he walked away. Jessica tried to picture such a creature, a dolphin unlike the playful ones she knew, a solitary predator lurking in the depths. The thought both frightened and fascinated her. That night, lying in bed, she listened to the distant roar of the waves. She imagined the lone dolphin out there in the moonlit waters, its dark shape moving silently beneath the surface. She felt an unshakable pull, a need to see it for herself. Somewhere deep inside, Jessica knew that finding it might be dangerous. But curiosity had already planted its seed, and by morning, her decision was made. She would go out and meet the mysterious dolphin, no matter what Haroon had said. Section 2: Rising Action and First Encounter. The next day dawned warm and bright, the ocean shimmering under a sky as clear as glass. Jessica stood on the pier, her small paddleboard at her feet and a cloth bag slung over her shoulder. Inside were a few slices of bread and several small fish she had begged from a friendly fisherman, her gift for the mysterious dolphin. She waited until the tide began to rise, knowing the currents would carry her further out. With a deep breath, she pushed the paddleboard into the water, climbed on, and began paddling past the familiar stretch of coastline. The sound of gulls faded behind her, replaced by the rhythmic splash of her paddle. Minutes passed, the water deepening from pale turquoise to a darker, more mysterious blue. Jessica's excitement was a living thing in her chest, making her heartbeat quicken. She scanned the waves, searching for any sign of movement. Then she heard it, a sharp splash somewhere to her right. Turning her head, she saw a sleek, dark shape break the surface before vanishing again. The water rippled where it had been. Her breath caught. "It's him." The shape appeared again, closer this time. A large dorsal fin sliced the surface, moving in a slow, deliberate arc. Jessica's hands tightened around her paddle, but her curiosity overcame her fear. She reached into her bag, grabbed one of the fish, and tossed it into the water. The dolphin surfaced, its skin darker than any dolphin she had ever seen. It didn't leap or play. Instead, it glided silently toward the floating fish, taking it with a quick snap of its jaws. Jessica leaned forward. "Hello there," she murmured, as if the dolphin could understand her. The creature turned its head slightly, and for a moment, their eyes met. She had expected warmth, the friendly glimmer she had always imagined dolphins to have. But instead, the eyes staring back at her were cold and unblinking, like polished black stones. It began circling her board, slow and measured. Jessica's pulse quickened. This wasn't the playful spiraling she had seen from other dolphins. It felt almost calculated. "Do you want more?" she asked softly, tossing another fish. The dolphin ate it, but didn't move away. It stayed close, its fin cutting lazy circles in the water. The sun dipped slightly, casting golden light over the rolling waves. Jessica felt a sudden shiver, though the air was still warm. Then, without warning, the dolphin dove beneath her board. She glanced down through the shifting water, but saw nothing, only the distorted reflection of her own face. A second later, the board jolted violently from below, making her grip the edges to keep from falling in. Jessica gasped, scanning the water's surface. The dolphin reappeared right beside her, so close that the water splashed onto her legs. Its head tilted as if studying her, waiting. She swallowed hard, her earlier excitement now tangled with unease. Something told her this meeting was only the beginning. Section 3. The Twist and the Danger. Jessica sat frozen on her paddleboard, the water dripping from her knees into the restless sea below. The dolphin lingered beside her, its presence heavy, almost oppressive. Slowly, it sank beneath the surface, vanishing into the deep. For a brief moment, there was silence. Only the soft hiss of waves against her board filled the air. Then, a flash of white beneath the water. The dolphin shot upward, its mouth opening just enough for Jessica to see rows of small, razor-sharp teeth. Her stomach tightened. "That's not right. Dolphins don't have teeth like that." The creature swam past her board again, brushing the underside with its powerful body. The board rocked hard, and she had to drop her paddle to grip the edges. It circled closer and closer, the water swirling in hypnotic patterns. Jessica remembered Old Man Haroon's voice. "That one's a hunter." She had thought it was a fisherman's exaggeration, a tale to scare children. Now she wasn't so sure. The dolphin dove again, and the ocean went eerily still. Jessica's gaze darted in every direction, searching for a shadow, a ripple, anything. A few heartbeats later, the board lifted from one side, as though something massive was pushing against it from below. She yelped, shifting her weight just in time to avoid tumbling into the water. She grabbed another fish from her bag and hurled it far away. The splash caught the predator's attention. She saw the shadow dart after it, cutting through the water with frightening speed. Jessica's hands trembled as she snatched up her paddle. "This is my chance." She began to stroke toward shore, each movement quick but quiet. Her arms ached almost instantly, but adrenaline drove her forward. The coastline was still a distant smudge, and the waves now seemed heavier, darker. She could hear her own heartbeat in her ears. Then, a splash behind her. She risked a glance over her shoulder and saw the dolphin charging straight toward her, its fins slicing the surface like a blade. Come on," she whispered to herself, paddling harder. The dolphin was gaining on her, the gap closing with terrifying speed. It lunged, slamming into the back of her board. The jolt sent her forward onto her hands and knees, the paddle slipping from her grasp. The board wobbled dangerously, but she managed to keep her balance. Desperation flooded her thoughts. She grabbed the last fish and hurled it into the shallower waters ahead, praying the creature would follow. For a tense moment, she saw its dark shape pause, then veer toward the splash. Jessica seized the opportunity. She flung herself onto her belly and kicked hard, pushing the board into the shallows where the water grew lighter and sandy. The dolphin followed partway before stopping, circling once in frustration. It lingered just beyond the drop-off, its black eyes fixed on her as if promising this wasn't over. Jessica stumbled onto the beach, her legs shaking. She was safe, for now. Section 4. Resolution and Moral. Jessica collapsed onto the warm sand, her chest heaving, her hands still trembling from the rush of fear. The waves lapped gently at her ankles now, as if mocking the chaos that had just taken place beyond the shallows. She turned her head toward the open sea. Out there, just past the pale green water, the dark fin cut the surface one last time before slipping beneath it for good. A shadow fell across her face. Jessica. It was Old Man Haroon, striding quickly down the beach with two other fishermen. They had seen her paddling back in a panic from the distant pier. Haroon knelt beside her, his weathered hands steadying her shoulders. "What happened, child?" he asked, his voice low but urgent. Jessica swallowed, her mouth dry. It was the dolphin you told me about. The black one. I saw its teeth. It tried." She broke off, shuddering at the memory of the creature circling her board. Haroon's gaze drifted toward the horizon.
His jaw tightened.
"I warned you, didn't I? The sea is not all play and beauty. There are shadows in it, just like in people's hearts." Jessica lowered her eyes. I thought dolphins were always kind. I didn't think it could be dangerous." "That's the trouble with thinking the world is only what you want it to be," Haroon said gently. "The ocean has rules, and so does life. If you ignore them, you pay the price." The other fishermen nodded in agreement. One of them added, "Some dolphins will save you.
Some will eat the same fish you eat.
And some will see you as the fish." Jessica managed a faint, rueful smile at the strange truth of those words. She realized now how foolish she had been to let curiosity override caution. The ocean had always been her friend in her mind, but today it had reminded her that friendship with nature must come with respect. That evening, she sat on the pier again, this time with Haroon beside her. The sun was sinking low, scattering gold and orange across the surface of the waves. Far out, a small pod of playful dolphins leapt into the air, their splashes catching the light. Jessica smiled at them, but there was a new weight behind her gaze. She knew now to keep her distance, to admire without trespassing into places where danger might be waiting. "Will you go out there again?"
Haroon asked.
She shook her head. "Not without knowing more. Curiosity isn't bad, but it should walk hand in hand with wisdom." Haroon gave a satisfied nod. "Then you've learned the sea's first lesson." As the last sliver of sun slipped below the horizon, Jessica felt a quiet peace settle over her. She would still love the ocean, still dream of its wonders, but she would never forget the dark shape in the deep, and the lesson it had taught her. Moral: curiosity is a gift, but wisdom is knowing when to step back.